Well, I was going to say good morning, but good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time today to join us to learn more about our Income Qualified Efficiency Fund. This is our program launch for FY25, and this is our second program launch. Our first program launch happened in June and should be closing up around March. Next. Today, I'd like to the agenda we'll be going over is I'll be talking about a little bit about DCSEU, the different types of low-income program offerings under DCSEU, and our main focus, IQEF. I'll give an overview of our IQEF, the second launch, give you the timeline. We'll discuss how to apply the different documents needed and what we're looking for as far as when it's time for us to analyze projects and our project selection criteria. And we'll also have a Q&A session at the end to answer any questions we can. Not only am I joined by our talented team, but our engineers are also on call. Our PMO team is also on call. So we have a vast variety of different coworkers and colleagues that I work with that can answer questions and also provide depth and insight to some of the questions you may have at the end. And I thank you for, again, joining us and bearing this time with us. Next, I'll pass it to the next slide. And for Kaylin.
Yes, I'm back again. As Shyam said, Q&A will be at the end of the session. Please do let us know if you have difficulty hearing or any technical issues in the chat. The chat is where I posted the link, but I will do us one better. This is the chat, right? We would like you to use the Q&A functionality. This is the Q&A. As you can see, it's a little question mark bubble. And the chat looks like a little messaging icon as well. So to stage up your questions properly, we just ask that you use the Q&A function if you're going to write them. And you can write them throughout the meeting if you need to. We will see them and we'll be able to get to them. If you would rather, and we will get to them in the order that they're received. If you would rather wait to voice your question, we're just going to ask that you raise your hand in the Q&A section. And we'll go through this again. We're not going to be upset if you do put a question in the chat, but please do try to use the Q&A functionality. But if you can't, the chat is always there as well. And as I said, the webinar will be posted or the info session will be posted on our website for anyone wanting to review the information discussed today, along with the slides. It'll be in our resource library, and that's dcsu.com/resource-library. And with that, I'm going to pass back to Cheyenne.
Thank you very much. So we'll start for anybody that's new that hasn't worked with DCSEU before, just to give a little background on our company. So since 2011, we've helped district residents and businesses generate more than $1.5 billion in lifetime energy cost savings. And we're doing that through energy efficiency and clean energy. We're making it more accessible to every person in the district and as far as businesses in the District of Columbia. But most importantly, what I'm most proud about for DCSEU, we're here to help lower utility bills and help residents save cash by incentivizing different energy upgrades. The biggest part about DCSEU's mission is we want to help make an impact for DC residents. We want to help improve their quality of life and create a better health and safety standards in their homes. Next. So DCSEU has a lot of different goals. But most importantly, as far as in the program I cover, which is our low income program, that means as far as all the goals that DCSEU has to reach every year, we make sure that 30% of the funds that get allocated to the company becomes available to affordable housing and income eligible residents. We look to do a lot of amazing projects in the Washington, D.C. area, projects such as solar installations, deep energy retrofits, and green job development. Now, green job development is one of the most proudest programs we have at DCSEU. Yes, we can highlight the amazing works and projects that we do to upgrade the properties, families, and homes in the Washington, D.C. area. But the reason why our green job development is so important is that not only do we take time to invest in the residents, we help residents create a standard skill set that they can go apply to different DCSEU vendor approved list contractors. And they take those skill sets that they learn and make impacts in the communities that they come from. Next, Kevin. So as a low-income program manager, I oversee different programs. One of the programs that I oversee is our low-income comprehensive, which is a non-competitive program. It's kind of geared towards gut rehab and new construction projects. And then we also have my energy kit program, where we work with food banks, nonprofits, and last year we started working with multifamily properties, and we provide air energy kits. And those energy kits, we have air purifiers, power strips, smart plugs, and shower heads. Those energy kits create a better, healthy, clean air standard in homes. And we've done a lot of amazing work last year in that program, and we hope to do some more this year. But today we're here for IQEF, which is my most competitive program. First, I'd like to start to let everyone know that for IQEF, we only cover projects that cost $10,000 or more. That is a standard that we do not go below. Second, what's mandatory is that minimum contribution from property owners have to be 30%. What that means is DCSEU, IQEF, we're covering 70% of the project cost. Again, I'll repeat that. That means if a project costs $100,000, we're paying $70,000, and we only expect the customer to contribute $30,000. Again, this is one of our most competitive programs, and the contractors that we work with have to be under contract with DCSEU. Next. So there are a lot of different documents that we collect to verify if properties are eligible to work in to complete their projects under IQEF. The most common document we get are rent roll, and what that means is the rent roll have to meet the AMI, the 80% AMI guideline, which is, if you guys see on the right side, which shows the rental limits for FY25. Let's say we have an apartment that has 2 bedrooms. That means the maximum rent that apartment has to pay is $2,430. Outside of rent rolls, we also take tax credit letters, we take covenant letters, and we also take Medicaid program enrollment forms. Please let us know as you see the different acceptable forms. We can always, myself or my Brooke can always work with you all to let you know what type of document you need. But and as I said, the most common document we get is the rent roll. It has to be up to date. We're not looking to get rent rolls that are 2024. We're looking for rent rolls that are 2025. Next, Kaylin. The importance of IQEF in the district. This program launched in 2016, and as a Washingtonian, I can tell you it makes an impact in this community. One of the best stories I have in my first couple of months here at IQEF was that we did a project at Paradise Parkside. That was a neighborhood I used to live in Northeast Washington, D.C. And we did a solar project, and we distributed kits at that property. It was good to see a neighborhood that I come from, that I used to live in, being impacted with help improving the quality of life at the property. Since 2016, we've been trying to make sure that nobody in DC is left behind in the energy transition. The green economy in the world gets billions of funds every year, and we want to make sure that DC residents, regardless of income, are a part of the transition and still able to improve their quality of life in energy transition. Go to the next slide, Kevin. So for our FY25 overview, I'd like to let everyone know, as I've said again, IQEF is very competitive. So we've increased our budget this year to make sure that we can help more families and properties in the Washington, D.C. area. Our budget this year is $3.5 million. Those who can apply for different projects to be completed are contractors and property owners / managers. And we do a lot of amazing projects. Some of the projects we do are advanced thermostats. Matter of fact, I have one of my lead engineer, Michael Land, who's on the call with us today. Michael Land, what are some different types of projects we've done in the past?
Sure. So as we haven't done in the past, we support upgrades to LED lighting and controls, like you said, smart thermostats, VFDs. If you've participated in this program before, some newer additions that you might notice on this list include air sealing or insulation, also Energy Star appliances. So that includes like fridges, dishwashers, heat pump dryers, clothes washers. We also continue to support upgrades to heat pump water heaters and electric HVAC upgrades, and that includes heat pumps and chillers. I do actually just want to highlight that we support gas to heat pump upgrades, and we do not offer incentives for new gas equipment. Oh. Just a reminder for that. And we also don't offer incentives for electric resistance technologies. So for example, if you'd like to upgrade from a gas to an electric water heater, then that water heater must be a heat pump water heater. So I think that's the gist of the list of eligible measures we can consider. And just a reminder, for any measure, costs and relative savings and existing equipment all play a role in whether we can support the project.
Okay. And I do know, like, something I do notice that we ran across last fiscal FY24 was that we did have some projects that came in where people wanted to do LED to LED.
Good point.
As we do upgrades to LED, but we don't do LED to LED. And I think there's a timeline. Is it 5 years?
So yeah, it actually all depends on the efficiency of the existing equipment.
Okay.
So if there's little to no difference between the watts of the old lights and the new lights, then we probably can't support the project. But if they're, I don't know, if they're very old LEDs and like they could actually get savings from a new, much more efficient LED, that's less common from going from non-LED to LED.
Okay.
But I guess the bottom line is we're looking at savings. So same thing for like SEER on a heat pump.
Okay.
We want to see significant improvement in the SEER level for the heat pump.
Thank you. Kellen, we can go to the next slide. So here we're going to talk about the key dates in the second launch of this program. As I said earlier, right now we're in launch 1, which ends March 30th. So just to let you all know, the application for IQEF Phase 2 is now open, where it opened on December 3rd, and we're doing early bird submission deadlines January 31st. The application close date is February 14th. We thought, making on Valentine's Day to give back, so it's a lovely gift to give on Valentine's Day. And all decisions will be made and announced on April 14th. And we hope to have executed IAs and work orders by May 5th. This year, we're closing our completion date for August 29th. So I know I just gave a lot of different key dates, but let me start off by just saying some of the key dates that you should pay attention to right now that we're in January. The early submission deadline is January 31st. That is a key date because it plays a very important role in what we'll talk about next in our early selection criteria as we look to select projects. The application close date, again, is February 14th. As you all know, via email, phone calls, I'm always available. My team is always available. Please reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns, and we will schedule either a call to handle and make sure we fix and you know what is going on, or how we can help guide you through the process to make it the easiest transferable as possible. But again, application close date is February 14th, and decisions will be announced on April 14th. Kelly, can go to the next slide. How to apply. So when we're looking for applications, we're more than likely getting them from property owners or DCSEU approved contractors. If you're a contractor that's approved to work with DCSEU in FY25, as Kaylin said, this presentation will be shared with everybody that attended today. But also you can just go on our website, and that's dcseu.com. And all you have as a contractor, all you have to do is fill out our data intake tool and the application. Submit your application, and then we'll review it, and then I'll start moving you to the next steps. As a property owner or manager that wants to submit your property to get project to get executed in IQEF, all you have to do is send me an email to incomequalified@dcseu.com, and just provide me with the following information: the property owner's name and name, email, phone number. Provide some type of low-income verification document. That can be a rent roll, that can be a tax credit, the number of units in your property, and provide me with a description of the type of project you want completed and your best point of contact. Once you submit that information to me, my team will verify your low-income document, and if it's successfully, if it's a document that we say if it's a document that qualifies, what we'll do next is we'll connect you with a DCSEU approved contractor. So therefore you all can work together to schedule a walkthrough or on-site visit. So therefore we can get a proposal. If you're a contractor on this call and you are not a DCSEU approved contractor, our RFQ is open, is reopening soon. Please fill out the link and go through the process to become a DCSEU approved contractor. We just went through that process with another contractor, and they're starting to work with us on some projects that are coming in our pipeline, this current launch and next one. Again, all this information on how to apply can be found on the IQEF webpage. You'll be able to see the application, the data intake tool, and how to request a property walkthrough. Kaylin, next slide. So this is the most important part. And Michael, I'd like to get your point of thoughts for everybody on the call. As we're making our selection criteria, which is one of the most important part in when we're looking at all the different applications that come in. Earlier, I said the submission date is January 31st. Please, everyone, I want you to know, if you can turn in your application before January 31st, please do so. That is going to help you so much as we're grading projects, okay? Now, another thing we like to look at are when we're looking at projects that the contractor is a CBE contractor. Those will receive preference due to our work with with our approved vendor list and the fact that the contractor is CBE. Michael Ann, as far as energy savings, what are some of the different ways we look at energy savings for when we're analyzing projects?
Mm-hmm. So I think you'll probably get to this a bit when we talk about the intake form.
Yeah.
So a big role that's played in the energy savings is what's the existing equipment and how will the proposed equipment differ in terms of the equipment type and also any kind of operations changes. So it's really important to be as detailed as possible in describing the existing equipment, and then we would confirm that during a pre-inspection site visit. And yeah, the energy savings, whether it's gas or electric savings, relative to the cost of the project, play a very large role in our selection process.
Okay. So again, just to let everyone know, the parts that we really pay attention to is the energy saving of a project. Please know that customers have to contribute a minimum of 30%. I would love it if you all can contribute more, but a minimum of 30% is expected to participate in IQEF. Projects with contractors that are CBE approved, and again, early submission. That deadline is January 31st, 2025. That means we're less than 20 days away from that deadline. Please reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns around that deadline. Next, Kaylin. So this year, as I said this year, for application expectations, please know we will reply back to you and tell you what you're missing if you do not have all these bullet points in your application. We're looking for signed IQEF applications. We're looking for our data intake form to be filled out. If you have any issues filling out the data intake form, Michael Lang can speak to experience. We just had a contractor reach out to us yesterday about this. We're scheduling a call to help them make sure that they fill it out properly and answer any questions they have. But it is online and it's available. We need all the information, so therefore we make sure we know how to look at your project in totality to analyze it the best way. Also, we need specification sheets with all measures listed. We need clear, detailed photos of existing measures that can be provided by the contractor or the customer. We also need W-9 tax forms from both the contractor and the building owners. We'll also need PEPCO bills, rent roll, and customers. Again, we need a minimum 30% contribution and the full customer information.
And can I add one thing? Just in addition to the PEPCO bill, also a Washington gas bill if you're doing a gas to electric upgrade.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed. Kelly, you can go to the next slide. Contractor expectations. Contractors need to provide pre and post photos of all projects completed under IQEF. If a project is over 100K, we will be doing a mid-inspection to make sure the project is on track and is making progress. As we execute IAs and work orders, please, contractors, remember, if there's any change to the scope of work, we must know in advance. So therefore, we can save time in the post-inspection, because if you install material that we did not approve in the IA and work order, you will not be paid for that part of the project. So please, and I always say this, as all the contractors know, I reach out bi-weekly, whether it be me, it's Brooke, or even some of our ECs, just to get updates. Any issues that come across, let us know. We're always willing to update the IAs and work orders to make sure we make the work easy for you. So therefore, at the end, once we complete the project in a timely manner, we can get you paid on time. And contractors, when submitting documents as far as model numbers and unit numbers and prices and photo, we need clear photos. So therefore, our engineers can see it and analyze the photo and information correctly. Taylor, next slide, please. All contractors, to work with DCSEU in our IQEF program, you must be under contract for FY25. Again, priority is given to CBE, SBE contractors, and we need up-to-date insurance information. If we do not have up-to-date insurance information, please be on the lookout for an email from me or our legal team asking for updated insurance information. We want to make sure everybody is protected and safe as they complete these jobs. Also, monthly data submission of green job is required. We send that out monthly. And for any contractor that is not currently an approved DCSEU contractor, please apply to our RFQ. It's opening soon, and we can get the progress started to make sure that you become a DCSEU approved contractor for FY26. Before we go to our next slide, I'm gonna pass it, before we go to Q&A, I'm gonna pass it to Kaylin to let everybody know how we'll be handling Q&A.
Just for anybody who came in during the middle, the preference for today's written questions is to go into the Q&A section, which looks like a little question mark bubble. It looks like this here. I'm hovering my mouse over it. Or you can voice your questions. And I know I have somebody first in the queue for that, but I just want to make sure people know to raise their hands, and then I will call on you. And then you can ask your question. Just noting that we will post these slides along with the recording to our website, and they will be sent to anybody who registered, regardless of attendance. So if you registered or attended, you will get the slides and the recording no matter what. So yeah, and you will have the ability to ask questions after as well. So without further ado, I know we have one person in the queue. I believe is Stacy Archibald. If you would like to come off mute and ask your question.
Hi, this is Stacy. And we actually worked with DCSEU in order to update our lights already. Our community, it's about 4 garden style apartment buildings that are condos. And so in the application, are we just starting from scratch? Do we have to do the walkthrough again, even though we've already completed a project with you previously?
Thank you for your question. You would have to start your project from scratch. So yes, you might have worked with DCSEU, but the fact that DCSEU has so many different programs, we'll have to start from scratch as far as submit. Just to clarify, you work for the property, correct?
I'm a board member for the
Okay,
condo association, and I'm also an owner. I also own a
Okay.
So I guess I could apply 2 ways. One for the
Yeah.
community and one for myself, correct?
Yes, definitely. Just send us an email with the information as far as your property name, your income verification document, type of work you're trying to get executed. You send that to incomequalified@dcseu.com. I'll respond, and then we can get your process started.
Right. So the income information. So basically, in order to do this, it has to be low income. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit hard to do. I mean, I'm going to try, but each owner, a lot of the owners do rent to Section 8 people, but I'm not always privy to all the, to all of that. But I guess we'll just see what we can do.
Definitely. Yes.
I'll hop
I'm
in
sorry.
there really quickly because if you mentioned that you're a condo board or co-op board, Stacy,
That's
so
correct. Yes.
I know that rent rolls are not something that's really available to condo buildings, right? It's not like a thing that's available. The requirement is that at least 50% of the building meet those income qualification standards. That's unfortunately the requirement. It does leave a little bit of a gap for condo owners and co-op owners. There are additional resources for other programs of the DCSU that are around that, but I do want to know, I don't want you to get off this call and not know that is a hurdle, the income qualification for co-ops and condo owners. But just wanted to note it. And that link that I put in the chat there of the income verification requirements has all the details, even more so than what's in this presentation, about income qualifying a building as well. So just wanted to note it.
Can you repost that? I think I came in later, so I don't see the link in the chat. Thank you.
Will do. Just repost it. And thank you for your question, Stacy. I saw a hand go. I see hands
I think that was
up.
Chris.
But I got a question in the chat in the Q&A first, so we're gonna go to that one, and then I'll come back to the people who have their hands raised. From Ed, we have, is the IQEF suitable for new construction affordable multifamily projects breaking ground in Q1 of this year? I'm assuming Q1 of calendar year 2025. If so, what low-income document would suffice?
No. Wait, Ed, is it it's a low income property?
It's low income, but also new construction.
Yes.
So IQEF, I think Cheyenne was about to say, IQEF is only for retrofits.
Yeah.
However, there is the low income comprehensive program.
And no, but we, as Taylor just said, we do have other programs that your property can qualify for. Please reach out to me, send me an email, and definitely I can set you in the right direction.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank you, Ed, for your question. Thank you, Cheyenne and Michael Ann. I'm coming back to the stack here. We have Chris Grant. Please come off mute. Ask your question.
Yes, thank you all for this. Very excited about this program and the opportunity. I am a property owner, property manager, and the question I have is the building that we are looking to apply for is, 1940s vintage property that has a lot of older infrastructure inside of it. One of the challenges, I think, to move from gas to electrification is the building will require a heavy up. And so I'm curious if, as part of IQEF, we can apply to make sure that the electrical in the building receives a heavy up, which, you know, is a path towards the heat pump and the other upgrades that we want to implement.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Chris, can you hear me? I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. That's definitely something we do in IQEF, and we definitely can explore with some of our contractors. I think we had maybe about 3 or 4 projects last year that came in who applied for heavy up projects.
And I would say to encourage to be as detailed as possible on that proposal and what's required and why for the heavy up, so that we can consider it, because timeline and cost will play a large role.
Factor, especially that go too. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
All righty. Thank you, Chris, for your question. Thank you both, Michael Ann and Cheyenne. I'm gonna lower your hand there and move on to Gregory Crawford. Please come off mute. Ask your question.
Thank you. I just want to know, we have a property that is specifically for nonprofit community-based services. Would that property qualify for any upgrades?
What kind of nonprofit? I do think so, but I'm more so asking what kind of nonprofit, just to see if you would be able to have one of the documents that we would need as verification. So in the sense,
in the building, there would be a daycare center and community services for like Ward 8, like food, low income families would receive assistance, veterans, homeless veterans.
do you question, is this a program, a business that would be able to provide a tax credit letter in the sense of with DC government for the aid you're providing?
A tax credit letter? Oh, well, the owner is a nonprofit. We're a nonprofit. We own the building, but the building has been slated to only provide any occupant must be a community-based provider. So like a daycare center, and those who provide community-based services like Ward 8 senior program.
At the current moment, I'm unsure. I want to lean towards no, but if you send me an email, I definitely can look into it to get you a better answer, because I don't want to just, scratch you off, but definitely follow up with me via email. And if it doesn't work under IQEF, I can definitely point you in the right direction of another team that might be able to execute, or even to talk to one of our AMs.
Okay. What's your email? Oh, you put it in the chat?
It's going to be, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
And Cheyenne, just for clarification, could you identify the buildings that do qualify under IQEF?
Oh, yes. Multifamily properties, federally approved clinics, and
I'm just looking at your slide, shelters.
Yeah, shelters. I'm sorry. Yeah. Shelters, federally approved clinics, and multifamily properties.
Would that be like a VA clinic?
Is that veterans?
Veterans,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we're actually working with is that which one is? We're actually working on a veterans project right now.
There's a list, Cheyenne, of federally approved clinics.
No, not specifically to what he was saying, but I'm saying yes, we do work with VAs, but there's like Kayla just said, there's a link on the slide that you all can check out to see if your property's in there. But we are doing executing a project right now for the federal VA.
Thank you both. And I see David Jones, you were in the chat, but you came over with your hand raised, so come off mute and ask your question.
Thank you, guys. So it was similar to the question that the gentleman asked earlier.
David, sorry to interrupt you. Can you raise your voice? Can't really hear you that well.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Perfect.
Okay, my name is David Jones, and I am the facilities director here at the Capital Area Food Bank. And we are a nonprofit, and we do service low-income residents. We service seniors, and just trying to make sure that we qualify for this program. But it seems through some of the information you just told the other nonprofit guy that we may not qualify for this program. So I'm just trying to see.
Yeah. Um, I would have to learn more about your program, but definitely we don't do a lot of work with food banks in the sense of executing projects.
Okay.
More so, IQEF is multifamily properties, as I've said, or shelters or federally approved clinics.
Okay. And the reason I ask is because 5 years ago, this same program was offered to us, and you guys came in and did lighting upgrades for us. Um, so that was definitely a reason why I was asking as well.
Okay. Um, Definitely. Again, I'll say, David, shoot me an email at incomequalified@DCSEU, and I can talk to my supervisors and directors to see, like, what has changed. I wasn't here 5 years ago, but I do know, understand, like, over time programs evolve, so either they grow or remove certain things. But we can definitely have a conversation to figure out where DCSEU can help your property.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries.
And just so we can run through this, because I think the answer to that question is yes, Cheyenne. So for food banks, it's just that, like, the link that I put in the chat. That's this list. I'm gonna put it on the screen for you all just to show you what this looks like. So if you're one of these buildings, right, these building types, and you click on it, it will show you. So IQF does provide food banks with service, and if you will have to provide one of these pieces of documentation, whether that's a tax credit letter, stakeholder letter, rent roll, Medicare program enrollment form, official approval letters, or payment documentation, or a covenant letter. So that's typically how it would go. And I would assume for a food bank that a stakeholder letter would probably be would probably be what you would need to get to be qualified. But I'm not the expert on that, but that is the guidance that is approved and on the site and available. So I just want to call that out for folks, um, just so we don't get too much more confused. But thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. All righty. I'm going to the chat really quick. Okay, David, I see you put in the chat too, but thank you for that question. And I'm going back to the queue, and I see Keegan T. Please come off mute.
Hey guys, thank you for this information. I'm working with a property owner, and I just had a quick question about the site visit with the contractors. Obviously a little bit, not time crunch, but we want to get the application done by the 31st. So once we reach out to you guys to set up that site visit, how long does that usually take to get contractors on site?
I think, it all depends on availability of the contractors, but I would say somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks. I would even say 1 to 3 weeks. I think all depends on the availability of the property manager and owner, and also the availability of the contractors. But I don't, scheduling and executing on-site visit and walkthroughs have never really been a problem we've had a lot of issues with.
Okay, thank you. So getting that set up sooner rather than later, that was the best idea if we're trying to get that app in before the 31st.
Yes. Well, honestly, the first step I'd say to execute is sending us an email and since you're coming from the property owner's side, sending us an email with all of your project information and us verifying your income documents, and then we'll move you along to the next stage.
Okay.
Which
Thank
is
you,
getting you connected with a approved contractor.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you, Keegan. I think I'm going to check the Q&A really quick one more time. Is there any more questions in the Q&A? I don't see any. But I saw a hand go up, and Ed, feel free to come off mute.
Thank you all for this presentation. And hello again. So, a general question. I am currently just a housing developer in DC right now, but I'm also working on attaining my GC license as well as my CBE certification. And I was wondering, in working with DCSEU, would I be able to perform as the GC while also being the owner of a project? How would that work?
Ed, that's a good question. I'm not gonna lie.
I got the
you know
answer.
the answer to that,
I
Kayla?
got that. Yes, the answer is yes.
Kayla is seasoned.
The answer is yes. You would, but the company that's a contractor would have to become an approved contractor with the DCSEU through the RFQ process.
Yeah.
So you have to apply to the RFQ that's not open yet, but to attachment 2 for IQEF. And again, IQEF is a retrofit program, a retrofit direct install. So you would be that direct install contractor, because there are property owners that have their own in-house contracting services, or that do work inside, but not too many of them decide to become contractors in that way for this program. But it should technically be possible.
Okay, good. Thank you all for, again, appreciate it. And I'll shoot Mr. Simpson an email on the low income program.
Definitely.
Thank you all. Yes, sir.
All righty. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna make sure there's nothing else in the Q&A, but we've got 9 minutes. I know we started a little bit late, but if you have any more questions, you can throw them in the Q&A. You guys are liked raising your hands and coming off mute. I appreciate that, but I do want to note again for everybody that if for some reason that one of your colleagues was not able to make it today because they had access issues, and we apologize for that as well, they will still get the slides and the recording if they registered. So if they registered, no matter what, they will get it. And if they didn't register and you did, you will get it. And you can share it with them, and it will be posted to our site in our resource library publicly as well. So, and if you don't know where our resource library is, I'm going to put that link in the chat while I wait for any more questions to come in. But if we wait for a couple minutes and there are no other questions, but Shyam, I see you highlighting a little bit. Did you have anything before we get any more questions?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, cool. But yep, please do provide any more questions in the Q&A, or feel free to raise your hand. And while we do that, I am going to get you guys the link to the resource library. There we go. So that's the resource library right there. So if somebody doesn't get the slide deck emails, the slide deck and the recording email, it will be posted there. And I will do my best to hustle up and get it posted as soon as possible. Thank you, Stacy. But I don't see any more questions coming through, and that was about 2 minutes of vamping. So Shyam, any last words?
Thank you all for taking this time to hear about our amazing program. We look forward to impacting Washington, D.C. areas and the communities that we serve. Please reach out to me via email, phone call. We look forward to the amazing projects you all submit and to analyzing and to helping your properties become better and upgrading. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Happy New Year's. And please continue to work with IQEF so we can help projects come alive.